So this is going to be a quick video about finding fatwood in white pine. Those are white pine trees at the back of my yard. There's a lot of white pine back here. I've seen a lot of videos on fatwood, but I haven't seen too many on finding them in white pine. So this is a close-up of the white pine. That's the bark. And you see those dead branches there. These are small white pine trees here. Sorry. You notice how they grow in rings. Each set of branches is like a set of rings. The needles are long, not too thick, pretty pliable. And those are the pine cones. So there's a couple dead trees right there. Center of frame, I think. So that one right there is dead. That one goes up to there. The next one is right there. That one's dead. So what I'll do is I cut those down and I'll show you what I get. So here we are in my immaculately clean basement, and this is one piece that came out of there. You see that there's it's basically a split piece of pine. Where that knot runs on the inside, you can see where it comes to the center, there's a lot of resin there. So this might be a good candidate for trying to cut it up and see what we have in there for fatwood. There's another one here. This is basically one of those rings. You can see especially here, see if that'll focus. Especially there, that seems to be pretty glassy around the ridge there, around the rim of that stick. It's almost like waxy or something. That's the resin that's impregnated in that stick. Now when I cut that off, I probably use part of that, but that resin probably goes down in through this as the stick comes into the branch here, into the trunk, sorry. This one might have some, but it almost looks more rotten than resin. But we'll give that one a try. Now I should note that when I've seen other fatwood videos, they take a trunk and they cut down a live tree, or they find a tree that was cut down live, and they find the trunk and they cut a piece of the trunk off, and that's, you know, solid fatwood. You're not going to get that much fatwood out of this, and it's a lot of work. So really, you should. This is more of a educational thing and maybe survival thing for the, for the Northeast or something. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to get any fatwood out of white pine trunks, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I haven't found the right trunk, but maybe it wasn't. The ones that I found weren't cut down live. But we're going with this for now. So I'll do a quick shout out here to Ron at firesteel.com. I bought this slab of fatwood from him, put my own paracord on there so that I'd be able to see it. No one would try to burn this chunk of wood on me. This was like, I think it was $3, $2.50, $3 for this chunk, and you can see from the growth rings that this was taken out of a trunk of a tree. I think he's up in New Hampshire, so I should be able to do this, but I just haven't found it yet. But that's a pretty good slab of fatwood. maybe I'll do a test here to illustrate this being my standard by which I measure my fatwood. So maybe I'll show how this scrapes down into Aztec dust and show how well this burns, and then I'll measure my harvesting of fatwood off of those chunks and see how well this compares to that. Alright, so I'm just doing a quick reference check here. This is the fatwood that I got from firesteel.com. It's pretty good. And I'm using here the GobSpark firesteel.com GobSpark Armageddon. This is very good with the hand scraper. Highly recommend the hand scraper. It's a great product, works really well. And, it really great sparks. Shoots off some massive sparks here very easily, no effort whatsoever. So I'm going to be scraping some of this fatwood into Aztec dust. That's what they call it, I believe. So you can see how just that small amount of Aztec dust really burned well. That was just a small amount, just a few scrapings. That's my reference. Okay, so this was one of those. This was that short piece. I split it in half so that I had the 2 knots, and then by using my Becker BK2, I should say K-bar, Becker BK2, uber thick, good for batoning, and an axe, a hatchet, and I was able to split off this. So now I took the my little folding saw here, my Gerber saw, and I basically cut down through that. And now what I've done is I've taken that piece and I just took my knife and baton through that piece. And that's what I've got. So now I've got some more processing to do to get that outer ring, that outer layer, to see if it's fatwood. But before I spend too much time on this, I'm just going to either light up a corner of this, see how well it burns, or even better yet, scrape it down like I did my my test piece, my known good fatwood piece, and see how it compares. Okay, so now this is going to be my comparison piece. This is that smaller chunk that I cut off. Let's see how well it does. This is my small pile. And I'd call that success. You can see the black smoke coming off of that. Small pile burns for a little while. So that is fatwood. Not much of it, but it's enough. So now what I've done is I've quartered that piece of wood, that stick that was going into the trunk. And I'm going to just use some chisels. I've got a 1/2 inch chisel and a 1/4 inch chisel. I just use them by hand to just kind of gouge out the inner dry wood, to take that away from the outer Fatwood. So what I'm doing is I'm gouging out the inner part of that, and I'm just leaving the outer part, which is all Fatwood. So there it is, the complete finished product. That is 1/4 of the branch that I cut out of that log. So I'd get about 4 of those. I will say that if you're looking to get some Fatwood and just bring it out into the woods and use it as your fire starter, you're probably a lot better off just buying some Fatwood commercially. Like I said, the firesteel.com sells it for a slab of that stuff for $3. It's really not worth the work to try to get this wafer of Fatwood. But if you're sitting around the campfire or you're on a camp out and you're looking for something to do and it's kind of cool, enjoy it, go nuts. It's also a good survival thing. If you know it's in there, you don't have to whittle it down to this small. You could just get that stick out of there and scrape some of this off, and you got Fatwood. So here we go with a straight up burn test of that wafer that we processed. Great stuff. Blow it out before I set off my smoke detectors. Okay, so this is that Fatwood chip. That we processed. And I'm just going to try to get it in a good angle here so that you can see what I'm doing when I'm scraping this. So I'm just taking the scraper and I'm just scraping it, kind of holding it at that angle and scraping to try to get some of that those shavings off of the wood. So once I've got a small pile of those shavings, I can just hit it with my fire steel and voila. I don't know if you can see that black smoke coming off of there, but that's some pretty good Fatwood. Alright, so there you have it. Fatwood from white pine. Call them Fatwood chips.